Is it time to create something different with your life and your body? Right Body for You will inspire you and invite you to a different way of creating the body and the life you truly desire. Ready? Let's go. Here's your host, Donnielle.
And welcome, everybody, to Right Body for You. I am your host, Donnielle. Thank you for joining me now, today, in the past, or in the future. I love just looking at the concept of some of you are listening in the future already. How fun is that? And so welcome to, it's a different kind of show. Yes, it has the word body in it, and it's not just about bodies. You know, that's one of the things that I love most about, all this work that I've been doing, really, truly, my whole life, is that it's not just about bodies, it's also about your life and how your body can contribute to your life and how your life contributes to your body. Yes, folks, even your life contributes to your body. And I don't mean just what you're doing to your body, the food or the sex or the clothes or anything else like that, but also just how it's a symbiotic relationship between your life and your body. And that being said, I'm also not talking about your life gets better because your body looks a certain way, feels a certain way. What if your body doesn't have to look, act, or be a certain health level to be able to receive from your body and actually allow it to contribute to create and generate your life with you? And, you know, these are some of the places that this radio show goes to each weekend, the workshops I do and the telecalls and the private sessions. It's all about getting you to really create the life that you desire, that you know is possible, and to acknowledge the you that you truly already be. Just haven't been willing to be, able to be. There's so many different variations and reasons or limitations we've created to keep us from choosing that. But really at the core, we all are us. We all are us. And it's so funny because I just was able to spend some time with some friends of mine. I've been friends with them for 30 years, which just blows my mind. So we've been friends for 30 years. It was 3 girlfriends from high school. It was the 3 of us. Sorry, 3 of us. 2 other girlfriends and me makes 3. And we were affectionately known as the 2 boys and the bug. Well, in case you guys hadn't figured this one out, I am actually a girl, but my nickname in high school was Donnie, which a lot of people thought was a boy. And then my other girlfriend's name was Danny, also people thought was a boy. And then the third girl's name was Cricket, right? Bug. And so we were known as the 2 boys and the bug, which was very funny. And so we got together recently, and, you know, I've seen each of them over the years, but it's been a good 14 years since all 3 of us were hanging out together. And it was funny because we didn't miss a beat. We just kept right on like we had seen each other yesterday. And Tammy turns to look at me, and she goes, "You were more mature in high school." I'm like, I know. But why I'm telling this story is it's really funny the places that I was inside still me, you know. Like I would think of the smart aleck, sarcastic remarks, but I wouldn't say it out loud because I was trying to be something or be someone, or an image of something that I thought it should be. Like, I should be mature, or I don't want to act childish. I mean, how many of us have spent our time when we were a kid trying not to act childish when, hello, there was ever a time to not have to excuse acting like a child? It might have been our childhood. And so I just, I really started looking at that. It's like, and then I just kind of laughed and chuckled and went, yeah, I know. And then she looks at me because, she's a very aware person as well. And she looks at me and she goes, actually, you were always this way. You're more of you now. I'm like, yeah, I really am. And, and then from there, she actually started asking me questions about access consciousness and right body for you, which I thought was pretty cool. Because really that's what these tools that's what these tools are all about, is to help you be the you that you are. Create the life that you're choosing and that you know is possible. And that life can change. And what I mean by that is the life I started to choose and create when I was in high school, different life than the one I'm choosing to create and be now. And it's freaking fantastic. It's so much fun. Okay? So that's kind of why I'm talking about this today, was this, why does this work for everyone else but me? Because I don't know about you, but anybody else in high school try to be somebody else? Try to be popular or not a geek. It's so funny. I look on that. I didn't spend so much time trying to be popular. I spent more time trying not to be a geek, which is an interesting place to try to choose from. If you look at that, it's kind of it's really kind of an interesting place. I'm not trying to be popular. I just don't want to be a geek, which, let's face it, I am full-on geek and nerd, but we all know this. And so we do this. It's like we would buy the right clothes, or we would have the right hairstyle, or we would do a number of things in high school trying to fit in. Like my mom, she spent her marriage to my father as a platinum blonde. Well, my mother has very dark hair naturally, and she actually looked old as a platinum blonde, but that's what was popular, was being was platinum blonde. And the platinum blonde didn't actually work for her. Some people look great as a platinum blonde. My friend Danny that I was talking about, she's a natural platinum blonde. It looks great on her. And so really, how much do we, starting way back, think that everybody else has it right? Well, it must be working for them. And, and I just had this conversation with a niece of mine, several nieces, nephews. She's a amazing woman, mother of two, and she was chastising herself for her inability to, what she perceived as her inability, let me say, as her perceived inability to be the perfect mother. Because she would look at people on Facebook and Instagram and see all of these kind of things that everybody was doing, and oh my gosh, I'm not doing that, I'm tired. I let my kid watch a movie last night, and so I'm obviously a bad mom because I wasn't creating a game for him like these people on Facebook and things like that. And so what's interesting is in besides the bodies, this kind of stuff is everywhere. That's how it should look. That's how it should be. Well, it works for that person. Like platinum blonde worked for my friend. Platinum blonde did not work for my mother. Making up games to play with your children. I'm not just talking about like peekaboo, hide and seek, playing games with your children, but like she showed me this post of this woman who created a board game for her children. And it's like, it's great. That worked for her. And for my niece, it's more of they go out to the park and stuff, and that's what works for their family. And so in addition to your body, it's also about realizing what works for your life and your body, not other people's lives and other people's bodies. Because, I'll say this straight out, you guys. In this day and age of social media, internet, Instagram, Facebook, people are putting out, well, let's just say, people put out what makes them look good, right? People put out a lot of success stories. Look what I did. like that woman who created a board game for her kids. She probably didn't post about the time when she was crying because her kids were up all night crying or anything like that. So it's really interesting to use these kind of things to judge ourselves by, to judge our bodies by. Because also on social media, I posted on my Facebook business page, so it's Donnielle Carter _motivator, my Facebook business page, if you guys want to go check out this article. It was several people who showed, they stood in front of the mirror and did a selfie, and then they showed themselves standing a different way, and how just the way they're standing can make their body completely shift and change into looking different. And we're not talking like weeks apart. We're talking about seconds apart. It was like, click, take a picture, shift around, click, take another picture. So it was really interesting to see all this, and which is for me why I see question is so important in all of these things, because we use these things to judge ourselves by. This whole what works for me, what works for somebody else isn't going to work for me, or could work for me, or should work for me. How much of what people are putting out is actually true? And this is where the question really, 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 really comes in, okay? And I just realized I haven't done the topic yet. The topic is, why does this work for everyone else but me? Welcome to the show. If it works for me, then it will work for you. You ever heard that from someone? Yeah, me too. How many times does what worked for someone else actually work for you? Very rarely. And if it did work for them and it didn't work, it could have not worked as well for you, or works differently. And I don't know about you, but I've actually screamed in frustration. So what is beyond the one system or the same for everyone? One size does not fit all. Which I actually did a telecall series called Bodies, One Size Does Not Fit All, which is kind of some of what this topic is about. We always look for other people to judge who we be, how we should be, what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing. Is that actually working for us? Is that actually making our lives happy? Is that actually making our body happy? Or is it something else possible? What is beyond the one system, the one way, the one body, the one social media presence? It was really interesting. I put a post up one day about, I was ranting. I even prefaced it with, I'm ranting. And it was really interesting, some of the judgment that I got back from it. And it really gave me an awareness to how this reality functions and what we can, basically it gave me insight is how social media works, and insight into how we are judging ourselves. Because, my niece actually said it really well. She's like, do you think it's possible, when I was having this conversation with her the other day, she said, do you think it's possible that we are making ourselves more unhappy now simply because we're watching more people and how they act and how they be? And I'm like, yeah. Everybody has a social media account. It's the odd person out who doesn't have that social media account. I met a guy recently. I'm like, are you on Facebook? He's like, no. And I admit, for a second I was taken aback. I'm like, wow, interesting. And not from a judgment point of view, but I'm like, wow. And I kind of perceived it as the universe. I'm like, wow, what would that be like to not be on social media? And because what's interesting is social media Facebook is one of the windows I open up automatically every morning when I turn on my computer. So it is interesting how this has shifted and changed for us. And we are going to take a quick little break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about this. This isn't a show on social media, but it is an example of how we are looking for ways of things that worked for other people, diets, lifestyles, hairstyles, parenting tips, all of these different things. So it's like I was putting something together recently, and the first thing I did was go to the internet on YouTube. Well, how did they put it together? Instead of actually looking at how I put it together for me. So it is interesting how in this day and age we have so many different ways of comparing ourselves to other people and what that is creating. And so when we come back, we're going to talk a lot of it, about finding out what works for us and what actually happens to our bodies and our lives when we're trying to shove ourselves into a different way that may not work for us, or an image that is what we think our lives and our bodies should be. Okay? This is Donnielle. This is Right Body for You. We're on Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
The life and the body you secretly hope for is possible. Somewhere you know that, right? What if creating that body and life is not about deprivation and sacrifice? Would you be willing to choose it? What if it could be as simple as changing how you look at things? Right Body for You with Donnielle is a different kind of radio show. Each week, Donnielle invites you to you. She shares simple tools that you can use immediately to create changes in your body and your life. Something different begins now. Listen for Right Body for You every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, and 11 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you're far greater than you've ever given yourself credit for? What if it's time to know the gift and the contribution you are to the world and to like yourself a lot more? Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago, I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. Asking questions opens doors to infinite possibilities. And it's not about finding the answer. It's about being the question. Always. What I'm inviting you to step into is something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Newton, Da Vinci, Gandhi, Picasso, and Aristotle all knew to be true. What if no question is too big or too small? What if anything is possible for you? What if together we could create a kinder, gentler, happier world? Is now the time? Go to beingyouclass.com and sign up for a free video series, My Gift to You. beingyouclass.com. What if you, truly being you, are the gift and change this world requires? beingyouclass.com.
This is Right Body for You with Donnielle. To participate in the program today, please call toll-free in the U.S. 815-880-8255 or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. If you'd like to email a question, please send it to Donnielle@accessconsciousness.com. Now, back to the program.
And welcome back to Right Body for You. I am your host, Donnielle. And a special shout out to my dear Safia. She's in the chat room playing with us. If you guys have never joined in on the chat room, please do. It's fun. It's easy. Go to InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can click on chat room and then put in any kind of name you want. Safia put in there, Safia No Barf Bag was her name, which is the funny thing because Safia's been to a few of my classes and she always is joking that we need to get barf bags with the Right Body for You logo on it because as energy shifts and changes, sometimes it makes people can be a little nauseous just as we're clearing things, which is kind of all really funny. And speaking of classes, we have a special, exciting lineup, you guys, coming in Edmonton, Canada next week. Woo! Next week. The fun and games begin May 19th with a Right Body for You workshop. Okay, it's a 2.5-day workshop. If you guys are enjoying the radio program, think how much fun it would be to be in the classroom setting as well. So it's a 2.5-day Right Body for You workshop. We go really into depth about creating your life and creating your body. And we talk about earth, pain, money, sex, energy, eating, you name it. You can ask a question. It comes up. There's a manual. We have a lot of fun with that. And then we also have an Access Consciousness Facebook class. And then we also have the Access Consciousness 3-day body class, which I am so excited. For the first time in Access history, there will be a Right Body for You workshop facilitated, well, by me. And, well, let me say the sentence again. Sometimes sentence structure really changes the word. Okay. Right Body for You workshop, and then a 3-day body class facilitated all by the same person, which would be me. I've been facilitating both of them for years, but this is really the first time that it's been this 1-2 punch, and I'm really excited to see what it brings up. Right Body for You helps you to receive and get out of judgment of your body and you, and then the 3-day body class is really about nurturing your body, and these hands-on body processes are freaking fantastic. And as Safi is saying in the chat room, we're also doing the same lineup only twice this year, once in May in Canada and then in November in London with Safia as well. She said we're going to get the barf bags for that. So we have fun. If nothing else, we have fun. We change our bodies. We enjoy it. So you go to Donnielle.com, DONNIELLE.com for more information. And, cool, Nicole. You guys, welcome, Nicole, one of our brand new hosts in the ICN family. She is on the show right before us. So please, please, please check her out. She's a very aware, very intuitive, very vulnerable, very stepping out into the world and showing us the amazing person that she is. So please do check out her show. It's right before ours. And it looks like she's going to join us in London in November. Oh, rock on. How does it get any better than that? All right. So, why does this work for everyone else but me? One of the first things I would really suggest is asking for the truth in the situation, okay? And what I mean by that is not everybody is an intentional liar. That's not what I'm saying, you guys. But how many of us, put the best foot forward, right? It's like, how many of us, when we take selfies, do we take 5, 6, 7 selfies and then pick the one that we like to put out on Facebook? Me. We all do this. And so what I'm saying is, look at the truth in the situation. Is if it worked for somebody else, ask truth. Is this the way that it worked for them? Or is this all true? Or is that how it went down? Or whatever question you can ask. But you do want to ask the energies, not ask the people, because, you don't want to necessarily be a pushy broad, mean or anything like that. You don't want to sit there and they go, I lost 15 pounds on this diet and I'm so excited. And you go, really? Did you lose 15 pounds? Is that true? You don't want to do that. It's not the way to build camaraderie. Because then they sit there and cry and go, no, I only lost 14 pounds. I was rounding up, or whatever it is. I'm just joking. But you can't ask. It's like, okay, so somebody's like, oh my gosh, I lost 15 pounds doing this diet. It was so fun. It was so easy. And it was, it's going to work for everybody. And, whatever. It just goes on and on and on. You can ask, okay, so truth is okay, how do you say this? Truth is the energy consistent? You can even ask if the energy is consistent with what they're saying, okay? So it's not about truth, but it's like, is the energy consistent? Because, people can say, oh my gosh, it was so easy and so fun. And you're like, okay, well, it doesn't quite ring. It's like, well, maybe there were some days where it wasn't fun or it wasn't easy or, whatever it is. So you can ask and see if the energy is consistent with what they're saying, okay? Because, again, not that they're lying, but it also, how many people are putting their best foot forward? I look at this with posts all the time. I look at the energy behind the words. I was looking at some posts on Facebook today because anybody else ever get lost on Facebook? Yeah, me too. And so I was looking at some posts, and when I do get lost on Facebook, I actually kind of play a game with it. It's like I look at the energy behind the post as well. And I was looking at this one post, and somebody was talking about, I'm so grateful for this person and choosing for them, and and all this kind of stuff. And I'm kind of looking at it, and I'm like, wow, the energy behind here is kind of like, yes, they're grateful for choosing for them, and there's another energy present. I'm like, okay, so what is that other energy present? And the other energy present, I don't know what it is, but I'm speculating that there's another energy present of major shift and change. So it's like, while they could be very grateful for them choosing for them, at the same time they're going, crap, I can't believe this is happening, or whatever. So, and this is kind of an example of what I'm talking about, like when somebody goes, oh my gosh, it worked great for me. And then you look at it and you're like, yes, but there's another energy present, okay? One thing you don't want to do is turn off your awareness for the first thing people are saying, because we're speaking on so many different levels. And honestly, that's why I spend so much time about looking at the energy behind the words and the words we use in like Right Body for You workshop, is because we speak on so many different levels. And I don't mean we're duplicitous. No, but we're not a one-level energy being. We're not. We are multifaceted, just like the energy, and so we're speaking to a number of things at the same time. Like I was talking about this post with this woman. Yes, this woman was very grateful for this person being able to choose for herself and whatever that is, and at the same time, there was also an energy of like, oh crap, now what? Okay. So one does not exclude the other. So why do I keep going on about this? Because when people say to you, oh, this works for me, it's going to work for you, did it work for them the way they're presenting? What else is actually possible there that you haven't acknowledged, okay? So you can always ask, what other energies are present here? Is the energy consistent? What are they not telling me? Because trust me, there's other stuff going on about not telling as well. Yes, Nicole put on in the Skype or chat room. There we go. There's the word, chat room. Ha ha ha. I also perceive the energy. You know that I am so happy for you. Oh, fuck, why can't I have an energy often on Facebook? Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the thing here, is it's like one does not negate the other. Anybody ever been so freaking happy for somebody and at the same time you're like, well, that would be cool. Could I have that too? One does not negate the other. You can ask a question and demand for yourself while being happy for another. Okay, we're going to take our next quick little break. When we come back, I have more tools. I always did. Besides the first one of like what other energies is present here. Because when somebody thinks, oh, this worked great, whether it's a lifestyle, health style, body, diet, whatever it is, parenting tip, whenever somebody's giving you, oh, this works great for me, you should do it too, what I'm talking about are the energies present, or what other energies are present here, and is the energy consistent? I'm just encouraging you to listen with more than your ears, okay? Because here's the thing. If you don't listen with more than your ears, when somebody goes, oh my gosh, this is going to work so great for you, what you start doing, if you don't pay attention to the other energies, is this is going to work so great for me. You start firming up a point of view, solidifying a one possible reality that actually can become a limitation. Okay? So when we're going to take a quick little break, and when we come back, I'm going to expand a little bit about what the freak I just said about that if we're not listening to all the energies, we solidify only one reality. and how that can create a limitation. Okay? All right, this is Donnielle. You're listening to Right Body for You on Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
The life and the body you secretly hope for is possible. Somewhere you know that, right? What if creating that body and life is not about deprivation and sacrifice? Would you be willing to choose it? What if it could be as simple as changing how you look at things? Right Body for You with Donnielle is a different kind of radio show. Each week, Donnielle invites you to you. She shares simple tools that you can use immediately to create changes in your body and your life. Something different begins now. Listen for Right Body for You every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, and 11 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is Right Body for You with Donnielle. To participate in the program today, please call toll-free in the U.S. 815-880-8255 or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. If you'd like to email a question, please send it to Donnielle@accessconsciousness.com. Now, back to the program.
And welcome back to Right Body for You. I am Donnielle. Thank you for joining me now in the past or in the future or in the present or in something else. Don't know what that something else is, but thank you for joining me there too. Today we're talking about why does this work for everyone else but me? You know, we've all had those moments, whether it's a diet plan, a health plan, parenting, business, lifestyle, you name it. We've been told, oh, this is a surefire, sure gonna work way, and then we try it, and it either kind of works, doesn't work quite the way we intended, or doesn't work at all. And so what do? We get frustrated, we get mad, and we go into the wrongness of us. See, this is one of the reasons I love talking about this, is so often we get into this place where we go, oh my gosh, I'm so wrong. I did it wrong. Instead of actually asking a question like, hey, does this actually work for me? Okay. But we go, oh, if it worked for everybody else, of course it's going to work for me. So if it's not working for me, I'm wrong. I did something wrong. It can't possibly be the program. It can't possibly be the time, the place. Nope, it has to be me. I'm wrong. I did it wrong. I'm here to say you're not wrong, okay? Let me just put that straight out. You're not wrong, you guys. There are so many things that goes into every single detail of your life and your body. It's amazing. It's a miracle. It's gorgeous to watch. You know, I mentioned earlier that I was hanging out with two friends of mine that I've known from high school, right? And what's interesting is we all ended up working with bodies in different ways. My one friend is a nurse. My other friend is a lab tech. So it's like, you know, those times when you're in the hospital and they send blood or other things, secretions from your body out to get tested. She's the one testing it, okay? And then there's me doing Right Body for You. So we're sitting there having this conversation about bodies and just everything that actually has to occur simultaneously in symmetry and ease, and just the miracle of your body walking, talking, listening, communicating every day is such a gift, such an amazing thing. So why wouldn't we think that that also works with diet programs or business things or lifestyle or relationships? Because it really does. So one of my other favorite questions to ask about all of this is now the time? Okay? Is now the time? And I know what's interesting is a lot of people are starting to think that's a cop-out, but it's not. All it is really an awareness of the energy of what's required and when will the energy be that supports the choice that you are choosing, okay? I have had, Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, talks about this with projects a lot. You get an idea for a project and is now the time. Well, you can also do that with things with your body. And it's like, oh my gosh, I found this Pilates place. I'm like, oh, is now the time? And it was like, yes, no. So when is the time also? So is now the time for everything. So as somebody's telling you, it could be the right plan that's going to work for you, for your body, for your life. And is now the time to implement it. Okay? I've also seen people do this with buying a program or buying plane tickets or, starting a relationship. They meet that one man, that one woman, and they're like, oh, they're the one. Humma, 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 humma. And you can actually ask, is now the time? And sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is a little bit later. Sometimes if you don't buy it today, hey, it goes on sale tomorrow. I've had that occur to me more than once. So is now the time, even if somebody's telling you, oh my gosh, this is the best, and if you ask the question, would this work for me? And you get, yes, is now the time. So I'll let you in on another little secret, folksies. Gather around. Let me whisper it into your ear. Here's a secret. Ready? You can ask more than one question. I know, right? Crazy balls. But really, you look at this. So it's like somebody's telling you about a program. Sounds great. First question I always suggest you ask is, truth, would this program work for me? Would this work for me? Or body, would this work for you if it's about your body, right? So, but then you can ask another question. Is now the time? Is the energy consistent? What other energy is present here? What other information do I require? Or another one of the things, so Rhonda in the chat room, wait, you can ask more than one question? Yes. So when you are, sorry, a lot of information coming in at the same time. That happens. Okay, so somebody's telling you about a program. Sounds great. Works for them. One of the other things you also really want to do is POD/POC, and I know some of you may know the verbal processing of access. Some of you may not know the verbal processing of access. But basically, POD/POC is just the slang version of using the verbal processing to clear the energies of their projections, their expectations, their judgments. And let me clarify something here about those projections, separations, expectations, rejections, and judgments from other people. It's not always done maliciously. It's not always done in a way that, people like, oh, they judged me. It's not always necessarily done in that malicious, mean way, you guys. When I first started Access, I would run around going, oh my gosh, you guys have to do this class because it's so amazing. It's changed my life. It's going to change for you too. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. You just have to do this. And my mother used to do it for me too. When, period. She would be like, oh my gosh, you should try this. You should try this plan. It's so amazing. I think it's really going to work for you. So And she had every love and honoring and gratitude in her projection of this is going to work for you. Okay? So I just wanted to clear that up because people are not always doing projections to be malicious. Sometimes they're doing projections because they care so much for you. Okay? And when I was running around when I first started Access telling everybody, oh my gosh, you have to take this class, it's fantastic, it changed everything, it's going to change everything for you too, and things you don't even know you want to change, it's going to change, it's going to be freaking awesome, you're going to love it. I was doing that because I was so excited that I thought everybody should be doing it too. Projection. What works for them is not necessarily what's going to work for me, and vice versa. Just like, I was raised in a very Mormon family, and one of my brothers is still very Mormon. I have never spoken with him about Right Body for You or Access Consciousness more than, hey, he asked me, hey, how are your classes going? Oh, good. I'm going here, traveling here. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. And that's about the extent of it, that surface type of stuff, which is fine because, you know what, for him, being Mormon and attending church and doing things like that life is making him happy. That is giving him what works for him. So who am I to try to change that or try to project onto him that something that works for me should work for him, or that he should project onto me what works for him should work for me? Okay? So this is one of the reasons that I love this topic, and I really wanted to dispel the notion that a projection is done to create a limitation and meanness and wrongness. It's not. Oftentimes people are projecting at you because they love you, because they care about you, and they do have your best interest at heart. And this brings us back to those solidifying realities and limitations that I was talking about earlier. Okay? You guys thought I forgot about that? Sorry. Oh. Just following the energy, being energy, the bitch that I am. And so every time you ask a question, it opens up doors to possibilities. It opens up doors to directions, paths that we could have maybe never even dreamed of as a creation. Kind of like my life now. Asking a series of questions got me to where my life is now. But all those years sitting back in the edit bay and the TV station, and then sitting in the office as a promotion manager for a TV station, I could not even dream of the creation of a life where I get to travel the world facilitating people about bodies and energy and life and money and business and talk on the radio. And, I've been invited to do a sex class in Turkey because I'm like, yes, because there was a joke in there. Somebody who was raised Mormon going to the Muslim country of Turkey to teach a sex class energetically. I mean, come on. There's a joke in there somewhere, right? So I would have never fathomed the future that I have now as a creation, okay? But the exciting thing about this is the less you have those projections of other people or your projections of yourself, the more different possibilities can even start to be created and come into existence in your life, okay? So when we go, oh my gosh, this is the one that's going to work, everything else that doesn't match that, you start to build roadblocks to being able to create anything that doesn't match what you've already decided, okay? So if you're like, oh my gosh, this program is going to work for me, period. Well, so many things happen on so many different levels. First off, like I said, you start to create limitations against all other possibilities, okay? And with that, you are cutting off your awareness, which for me is one of the things I strive to not do, is to cut off my awareness in anything. And so every time you find yourself saying, oh my gosh, this is it, this is going to work, that's the basis of the question, how's it get any better than this, is to really keep you in the question of what else is possible, what else is possible, what else is possible, okay? Because here's the thing, if somebody's telling you a plan of what worked for them, oh, this worked for me, it was great, it's going to work for you. Maybe half of it works for you. Maybe half of it doesn't work for you. And so in this, if you're willing to get rid of any projection, separations, and judgments about how this will or won't work for you, then you get to see what actually parts do work for you, okay? And this is another place where I know some people get confused. People ask, like, well, I asked if the program would work for me, and I kind of got a yes, no. What am I supposed to do with that? Obviously, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't ask questions. See, I'm wrong. It's always coming back to that wrongness, isn't it, folks? Okay. So if you're getting that yes, no, another question I suggest asking is, does part of this work? And if yes, what parts? Because, before I started working with Access Consciousness, that's kind of what I would do with all of the people coming on to my mom's radio show. I would get this energetic, what I call cherry picking. I would be like, well, I like that part. I like that part, and I like that part. I don't like that part, but I like that part. Okay? So here's the other thing about this, what works for you or might not work for other people or vice versa, is if you're getting that yes, no, instead of going into the wrongness, I don't know what I'm doing. Actually, you very much know, and you're very much aware, because the energy is a yes, no. Because as the energy is scanning through the program, as you're asking the questions, you can go, oh, that type of moving works for me, but that type of eating doesn't work for me. Oh, or things like, oh, you know what? That kind of social media program does work for me, but I need to do it on this page, not this page, or whatever it is. So yes, no isn't necessarily an indication that you don't know what the freak is going on. Yes, no can actually mean that you are very aware of what's going on. And just another question for clarity is required, or 2 or 3 questions, right? What else is possible? And so if you're willing to look at that, it also, you stop creating those limitations, that solidification of only the one possible future, okay? Because everybody is different. I know, shocking, right? Everybody is different. Every laugh is different. Every life is different. And so, and this is why we talk about this, of you have to be willing to ask questions, have to be willing to see different possibilities of what works for you, your body, and your life. Some of the other questions, body, what would it take to change this? Body, do you desire to change this? Because it's going to be different. Okay? We are going to be different. Sorry, a lot of information coming in again. It's interesting, the notion that only one way should work for everybody. That only one question should work for everybody. I get that a lot when people ask me, they're like, what question did you ask to change your body? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I asked so many questions. So what is it that we still do, that waiting for one question, one plan, one program, one structure, while at the same time we're actually fighting against being that one class, that one house, that one structure, that one way? How much contention does this create in our own universe? It's like, as we're trying to fit into people's realities we see on social media, at the same time, how many of us are going, that doesn't actually work for me, but it worked for them. Look, they're so happy. Trust me, they're not. that is one thing I realized early on in high school is I would look at all these popular people and they'd be so happy and shiny, and I'm like, I don't think they're happy. That was just an awareness of energy I didn't acknowledge I had then. And, where I started really looking at the energy wasn't consistent with what they're talking about. Because, yes, that's that they're miserable, but that they're putting their best face forward. So what if instead of putting your best face forward, you put your face forward, right? So what would it take to actually find out what works for you? Truthfully question. And not a projection or rejection of they're full of crap, it doesn't work. Or, of course, if it works for them, it's going to work for everybody. Not to be trite, but we are as unique as snowflakes. Our body is. And there are hints of that out there, like you've seen that eat right for your blood type and things like that. So the acknowledgement is coming more and more to the surface that every body and every person requires something different. And the key is to really find what works for you and not even limit that. It's like, I did try the eat right for your blood type because trust me, folks, with my mom, I tried everything. And what was funny is we noticed that my body worked really well on protein, meats and, salads, meats and things like that. And so we didn't have my blood type tested, but we went, I must be blood type O because my body functions great on protein and things like that. Come to find out, years later, my blood type is A something, which should only be like vegetables then. And my body's like, nope, doesn't work. It likes meat. So this is why it's like you can look for the energy, see if it's consistent. What else as other information is required? And everywhere you're trying to create only one possible outcome, destroy and uncreate it. Use the verbal processing and see what else can actually show up. Okay? Can't believe we're towards the end of this. Oh my gosh. So baseline, ask questions, please. And acknowledge the awareness of energy. Because, just like I said about in high school, when the popular kids were like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. And I'm like, I don't think so. I thought I was a judgmental cow, when really it's just an awareness of the energy behind the words that they were saying. So please do acknowledge the energy that you be and how much your body actually contributes to that awareness of that energy, okay? Which we talk a lot about in my Right Body for You workshops, which the next one is next weekend in Edmonton, Canada. I am so freaking excited. The energy for these series of classes is just phenomenal. And as the amazing Leah has said, she's like, we were just talking one day and she's like, oh my gosh, Donnielle, do you realize that so much of what people are judging about their bodies can be handled with these series of classes, with the Right Body for You workshop and then three-day body class? I'm like, I know, I'm so excited. So please do check it out. You can go to my website, Donnielle.com, DONNIELLE.com, to find out more about those classes. Trust me, it is not too late to show up and join. It is going to be fun, because what I mean by it's going to be fun is I always have fun. I always laugh, we joke, and you know what, in that laughter and those joking around, things shift and change. And I help you to get to the place where you figure out what works for you and your body. I help you figure out the awareness of energies that you truly be and are every day. And just to get you to acknowledge the potency of that, acknowledge the brilliance of it, so that you are more of you every day. So check it out, Donnielle.com. So I hope to see some of you next week in Edmonton, Canada, and then the week after that for the 3-day body class. Those will be a lot of fun. Till then, have a great one. Make a fun week, a happy week, and see you back here next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Right Body for You. Donnielle will return next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, and 11 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you and your body will join us. Until then, have fun.